Did you know that if you search for the Last of Us TV show on Google, this button will appear at the bottom of the page? And if you click the little mushroom, this will happen. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Video Game Easter Eggs, the series where we cover some of the best Easter eggs found in video games. As always, if you think you know of a video game Easter egg that I'm yet to cover, then let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to check it out. Oh, and don't forget to leave a like on this video, and if you do, I'll order everyone a pizza. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin today's video with the Callisto Protocol. Now, judging something's quality based on the internet's opinion is rarely a good idea, and I think that applies to the Callisto Protocol. Don't get me wrong, it's not a Game of the Year contender, but it is a good survival horror experience, and for the first entry in a series, it does show a lot of promise. Now, you may not have known that the Callisto Protocol was originally developed as a game set in the PUBG universe, though this idea was eventually scrapped. Still, you can find a reference to Callisto's roots. Near the beginning of the game, you can find this. So this helmet is a reference to the same helmet worn by the PUBG guy. You know, this guy. Now, I'm only a couple of hours into Callisto, so if there's anything else that I should be keeping an eye out for, then please let me know. Next up is Goat Simulator 3. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like the hype around Goat Simulator 3 isn't anywhere near as big as it was when the original released. In my opinion, the reason for the lack of excitement is because Goat Sim 3 is an Epic Store exclusive on PC, which means a large section of that player base is waiting for a Steam release. It's a shame, as Goat Simulator 3 is more of what made Goat Simulator 1 so popular. And of course, that includes more Easter eggs. First up is a reference to one of gaming's most influential first-person shooters. At this location on the map, you can find a granny relaxing in her garden. Well, it turns out that granny doesn't like goats in her garden, and she will start shooting balls of yarn at you. If you, take care of the granny, the doors to the basement will open. And if you head inside, this will happen. So entering the basement will transport you to the world of 1992 first-person shooter Wolfenstein 3D. The other Goat Simulator Easter egg also references an iconic video game franchise. At this location on the map, you can find a group of scientists working in a water tower. In the tower, you can find a button labelled Launch, which may as well say Push Me. Okay, so we've established that the button launches a nuclear missile. Best to be careful then. Well, if you enter the same coordinates that I do and press the button again, this will happen. So this bomb lands a little closer to home, settling in a leafy suburb. Now, if there's one thing that we've learned here, is that we really shouldn't be pressing buttons if we don't know what they do, regardless of how tempting they look. Well, let's ignore that for now and press the button on the bomb. I mean, what did you expect would happen if you headbutted a nuclear bomb? Anyway, detonating the nuke will reward your goat with the Fallout Boy suit, which is of course a reference to the Fallout series. Oh, and one more thing. Anyone caught in the blast radius now has extra limbs attached to their body. thanks to the radiation. Next up is another game that released late last year that I'm only now getting around to covering. Gotham Knights is an open-world action RPG starring Batman sidekicks. Now, if you were hoping for an Arkham game but with different playable characters, well, you're going to be disappointed. Whilst not as grind-heavy as the Avengers game, there is an emphasis here on upgrading gear and collecting loot, which is fun for some people, but not for me. Anyway, Gotham Knights has tons of callbacks and references to comic book characters. But the Easter eggs that I wanted to share are tributes to two comic book writers and artists who sadly passed away. First up, at this location, you can find this. So this is a tribute to American illustrator and writer George Perez, who passed away in 2022. The other memorial can be found at this location on the map. So this memorial is a tribute to Neil Adams, a man credited as one of the most famous Batman artists of all time. Next up is Bus Simulator 18. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a game where you're stuck behind the wheel of a bus have Easter eggs? Well, the cool thing about Bus Simulator 18 is that you can leave your bus and explore the open world. I mean, there's not a lot to do in the open world, but you can find this. So hidden in the wilderness is a thank you to the players from the developers. That's not all though. If you look behind the thank you stone, you can find a hidden proposal, which makes me wonder, did she accept? Right, let's end today's video with one of the creepiest games I've ever played. The Mortuary Assistant is a game where you play as a mortuary assistant. I mean, the clue is in the name. Now, working in a mortuary is spooky at the best of times, but working in this mortuary takes that spooky factor to a whole new level. Whilst performing your duties as a mortuary assistant, you'll be constantly thinking, wait, did I just see that? But the Easter egg from this game will leave you in no doubt as to what you saw. One of the bodies that you can work on is this guy. So as part of a Christmas update, one of the bodies that you could prepare for burial was Santa himself. Now, I'm not going to share every step involved in preparing a body at a mortician's, but let's just say I've seen more of Santa than any person ever should. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is super appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in video games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel's all about. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.